Hello, welcome to Mindful Yoga with Yogi Beth C. I'm Beth, and I'm both a licensed clinical psychologist with an expertise in mental health and also a certified yoga teacher. We'll use a chair later in the practice, so you might want to have that handy. And we'll also use just one block. So have your block come down to the floor with me if you're not already there. So hopefully you've joined me on the floor. We'll lie right on your back and we'll place the block between the thighs. Now, if you'd prefer to use something soft, like a pillow or a rolled up blanket, that works just as well. The purpose of this prop between our thighs is to allow us to contract the muscles and to hug the muscles toward the bone. That is going to enhance our strength practice. So we are going to start with a bridge pose. Let your feet come comfortably in toward your bottom. You might even walk your whole torso a little bit closer to your feet. You're hugging in on your prop with your thighs. Arms are down by your side for support, and you can gently press your forearms into the ground below you. It's great if we can move with breath, so let's take an inhale, and on an exhale, we'll push into our feet, lifting our hips up to any height. So you might be here, you might be here. When you reach the end of your inhale, exhale and come back down. And we'll repeat, going at your own pace. So no need to keep up with my pace. The goal here is simply to engage in repetitions of this movement. As you lift up, you're pressing into your feet. You're moving your tailbone down toward your feet, so a little bit of a tailbone tuck to lift. And notice each time you lift that you're squeezing gently in on the block, but also have to engage the muscles in your glutes, in your hamstrings, around your hips. It's all connected. Everything is engaging. So the usual number of reps is anywhere between about 6 and 8. Let's do this last one at regular pace. And then let's try a few at super slow motion. So as you press and engage to lift, let this be really slow. Dr. Baxter Bell actually calls this slow motion outer space to overly emphasize how slow we're going. And then slowly, slowly, slowly lower back down. Let's do one more time at that super slow motion. And you might be able to feel more of that engagement, more of how your body, your muscles are really having to work on strength and endurance as well. That's part of strength. All right, let's do a few more regular pace. So going back to breathing in, lifting up, exhaling, coming down. One more, and if it feels better to exhale on the lift. And then inhale as you come down, that works. Let's take a pause to prepare. Now this is going to be our hold. Holding is anywhere from 30 seconds to 60 seconds or so. It could be longer than that. And I'm going to time this pose with the breath. So let's come into our hold first. And remember, if it feels comfortable for you to hold in more of a low hover, you can do that. If you're at more of a diagonal, that works too. So you want to breathe here, and we can use the breath to time our poses. So if I breathe in and out to a 5 count, in 5, out 5, if I do it approximately in seconds, that's going to be a 10-second cycle. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's approximately 10 seconds. We'll do one more cycle like that, since me talking probably took up at least another 10 seconds. So if we do one more counting round, that's at least half a minute, I think. Let's do one more like that. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and then come back down. Oh, relax on the floor for a moment. Take your attention to whatever is coming up for you. That's part of our mindful practice. You can bring that block aside. We're going to roll to our sides to come to a kneeling position. All right, we are going to come to standing. Help yourself up to standing position. So here is where you'll want to have your chair. Grab your chair and join me back here. Okay, so I have my chair and I also have my block on my chair. We'll show some different options for a supported inversion. Now we're not doing a headstand or a handstand here. A supported inversion, the idea of an inversion is generally that the head is lower than the hips. When we're standing or if we're lying down, the hips are higher than the head. So we're using this chair. You can also use a wall if you don't have a chair handy. And we're taking a wide-legged position. So take your legs nice and wide. You'll have the chair here for support. I'm going to show a few different versions so that you can find what's most comfortable for you to hold for maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes here. Okay, so the first version is going to be like a chair down dog. I might actually have to slide my chair out a little bit, slide my body back, where your hands can come to the back of the chair. And if you're on a wall, the hands would be right out in front of you or the seat of the chair. And then you can allow your body to melt in between. Now maybe you rest your forehead here on the block, and that's why I have the block. Perhaps you don't need a block, and you can come down to rest your forehead on the chair. Arms stay on the chair. So this is a really nice place to practice. My head isn't quite lower than my hips, or maybe just a little bit lower. That's fine. It's a supported inversion, so we don't need to go to a maximal place. You could also do this without the chair. If you already found the place that's good for you, stay and hold. I'm going to come to a sideways position to show without the chair. You can take a wide-legged position, as wide as is comfortable for you. Let yourself come down, and maybe you hang into a rag doll, or if a block works for you in this position, that's also a great place to hold. So let's hold whatever position works for you for about another 30 seconds. I'm going to try the block here. The high height usually works for me. Last breath. Use your hands to help yourself up. If you're using the prop, you can use that. You might gently move your feet back toward each other. Come up to stand slowly. In fact, you can stop at the halfway point and then gently help your body all the way up. From here, we're coming back down to the floor. So we're again going to use our chair, pull it over to your mat. I recommend having all 4 legs on the mat. I know I'm not following my own recommendations, but I know my chair is not going to slide away here. The chair is going to be for your calves to go on, your lower legs. Now, if you have a metal chair like I do, might feel a little cold, feel free to flip a blanket over the edge of the chair for warmth. So we're going to snuggle up pretty close to the chair and then let our shins come on top, lay back down. Start to feel the releasing effects of this pose. So your legs are supported. This is a really nice position to be in if you've been on your feet, if your legs are tired. Gravity is helping your hips, your pelvis sink down toward the ground. Your torso, your upper back is long along the mat. You can rest your hands on your body to feel the breath in your body. You also rest your hands down by your side. And as you relax here, I want to show you a couple more options that you can add to your pose if it has an enhancing effect for you. And that's really the reason to try anything, is if it makes the pose work better for you, not for some aesthetic purpose, just if it helps you. So one way is, I still have my block handy. I can take the block on the low height under my hips and get a little bit more elevation. So this changes this pose from, it was already a little bit of a supported inversion to even more of a supported inversion. Now my hips are definitely higher than my heart. And being inverted this way really can dramatically increase the relaxation effect. We're placing a little more pressure on the back of the head. That stimulates something called the baroreceptors. Those are one of the keys, the clues for our body to start going into our rest and digest mode, or our parasympathetic nervous system mode. The other way you may have heard of it was activating our vagal system, or stimulating the vagus nerve. And this block can, of course, be a blanket or a bolster. If having your hips elevated doesn't work, staying in this position is great. You'll notice, though, as I let my hips down, my chin is now a little higher than my forehead. So I want that tuck of my chin toward my chest a little bit more. I'm going to take the block because that's what I have handy, but I do recommend using a pillow here or a blanket, something under your head to allow your chin to soften a little bit more toward your chest. And once again, I have that pressure on the back of my head, right at the base of my skull, the occipitals. That tells my body it's time to cool down. It's my reminder of the physiological systems to kick in to help me relax. And the other element that you can add to assist with that is extending your exhales. So for example, if you were breathing into a 4 count, you might exhale to a 6 or an 8 count. I'll do a couple rounds of that too, as an example. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, you are welcome to stay here as long as you would like. And in fact, if you have the time, I recommend staying in this pose for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, longer. It's really an important part of your practice, and relaxation is just an important part of healthy aging as your strength work. So please comment down below to let me know what you thought of this practice. I have a whole series of practices for those over 50 years old, like myself. Try one of those if you'd like. A lot of other practices available for you. I hope you enjoyed and have a good rest of your day.